We've heard lots of wonderful contemplations and conversations about making things tangible and or making our communications, our educational approach tangible. And that word's never been defined for us. And we would suggest that it's not an actual, it's not a possibility. So for example, if we were to say, make love tangible, well, you'd say, oh, well, you can give an expression of love. That would be the raising of children or caring for a spouse who was sick. And that's a tangible representation of love and the process of love, which is vital to every human life. And that said, it doesn't take love and turn it into a block of stone that you could pick up and turn over in your hands and look at. So we'd suggest that trying to make things tangible is an illusory process, and it is only a safety and control strategy that is a way to mitigate fear of not understanding something or of applying it in our lives in a transformational way. And still, having said all of that, we would suggest that there are ways to help people ground ideas or concepts in their systems so that they feel better accepting them as truth or fact or reliable information or reality. And these are just some of the ways that we can, in our communications as an organization, because education is one of our key intentions, and facilitation of raising consciousness globally is one of our key intentions. If we can understand these dynamics of what it means to ground these concepts of the social movement engine or conscious collaboration in ways that people can accept. So we would suggest, there's one functional working definition of the word tangible that actually counts, and that none of the other definitions that might be utilized would currently would be as useful. We would suggest that couching your messages in terms that are acceptable to the audience is a key part of tangibility. Because if the audience has a belief that rejects your information, or they have a different value system, or what you communicate doesn't map to their experienced reality, they may say, oh no, that couldn't be, that can't happen, that's impossible, or that'll never happen. And how many people said we couldn't put a person on the moon? And then we did anyway, in spite of their non-acceptance of it being possible. So we can transform the world, we can heal the natural environment, and we can make that materially realized in the material world. And that process would be a dynamic of hopefully that people would accept as tangible. And there are many people who their tangibility quotient is, until you do it all for me and write out the entire recipe and bake the cake and serve it to me, it's not tangible. So if people want to raise the bar on tangibility in order to remain in a state of denial about climate change, they can do that. They have the right to do that. So if we relate a concept or idea in something that's currently experienced by the person, such as if we say, well, COVID is a reality in our world. There are some people who would deny that COVID even exists. I heard yesterday of a person who believed that even though 1 million people in the United States have died from COVID, that it's really all a hoax, and that all the hospitals are in on it, and that it's a political lie that's being created, and that nobody has died from COVID yet. Do you see how this deep-seated people's beliefs or perspectives can be? we don't have judgment of that dynamic, we would suggest that resistance to accepting realities is the right of every person. And that said, it doesn't mean that those influences such as COVID are just going to go away, or their effects would just go away because we deny their existence. If we communicate things in terms that are personally relatable or acceptable, or in terms that are associated with a belief that someone already has, or an understanding they already have, or an area of familiar education that they've already embodied it to some degree, that can help them to ground the idea of the concept and accept it more fully. If we create an experience in a workshop, in a breakout group, that helps them associate what we're talking about with their personal experience in that breakout group, then that will probably help them ground the understanding. We talk about the lower chakras in people's systems, where they hold their beliefs and their conditioning and their karmas or their thought forms. If we can communicate in terms that align with that, then, or their existing identity, if you tell them how their self-perceived identity can benefit by the social movement engine, or their life can be improved by it, or it will be a way for them to affect their personal goals more efficiently, then it becomes acceptable. So we would suggest that a synonym for tangible is acceptable. So we hope to always communicate in ways that can be received and accepted by all audiences, no matter what.